All right, click the links, join the channel, become a member, or join the subscribe star. Thanks for the recent guys over there, or the Odyssey, Bit Chute, Gab, Telegram. So what happened with Erik Larsen? Oh, in case you're not familiar with Erik Larsen, you can do a little image search for some of his Savage Dragon comics, and then type in Savage Dragon sex on one of the search engines, and or just you can find his comic online. You can scroll through it. It's really juvenile. It's he draws these women like graphic sex scenes, except the women are very tiny, petite Asian girls who look young. And I don't mean in real life Asian women look like kids. They don't, the adults. But in the comic, he draws them a certain way. And you look at the comic, you look at him, and you look at this graphic scenes he's doing. It's like, why'd you draw him looking so young, Erik Larsen? And it's not all the way to being, you know what I mean? It's not over the line. It's just you look and it's like clearly this is a fetish for you. It's creepy, but it's not all the way. It's just kind of like, dude, it's just like, are you a child to draw this kind of stuff? It seems like a vanity project for him, because I can't imagine there's a whole bunch of Savage Dragon fans out there. It's gone for like 20 years or something. And like really at this point, it's like, just do the art or do the writing. Get somebody else to do something else. You really don't want to write and draw. That it lacks like the multi-dimension when the artist is also the writer. It's like you really got to spread out to get somebody else a fresh perspective kind of thing. Anyway, so what happened is he issued this kind of stupid vague threat against Trump. It's like, yeah, stunning and brave to say what everyone else is saying. Like, gee, all mainstream corporate media, every corporation, all Hollywood. It's weird how you're all in the exact same. Yeah, we're fighting the machine. No, I mean, the J6 people who actually spoke truth to power were the ones fighting the machine. And it's weird that the liberals now are the ones, we're going to work with the FBI to track down those peaceful protesters. What happened to you? Oh, we got subverted by Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, Bank of America, Soros, Rothschild, Schwab, WEF, BlackRock, Vanguard. We got completely subverted. Oh, so you guys are just controlled now. Like, I know there's legitimate people on the left who are, like, if you're an environmentalist on the left, you're looking around what's happening with this, and like, this isn't really the left anymore. This is something else. This isn't even communism or socialism. This is globalism, which is something slightly different. Anyway, so yeah, gee, the left gets subverted and corrupted? Yeah, to be fair, it happens to the right too. It just happens in a different direction. Anyway, so he issues this stupid statement about Trump, and it's not an actionable threat of imminent harm. Not really, though. It's kind of right on the edge, because he says treason. And so he's talking about due process and the state involvement. So it's not I don't think it's not a big deal. It's like he's just a nut job, SJW, and Trump obviously has the best protection in the world. But having followed comics for a few years and looked behind the scenes at the people who are in comics, it's a collection of participation trophy kids. You know, when you like kind of peel back the curtain, you look at guys like Mark Waid. Mark Waid is a real eye-opener for a lot of people to see. You know, the guy's 50. He's an adult. He looks like an adult. He's, you know, everything's in the right place. And then you see how he talks on social media. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, and then, I mean, there's a lot. He's, you know, like they never left this stage of. They never got told no. They never got told their ideas were bad. I don't think like guys like Mark Waid or these kind of guys, I don't think they had a friend group where you throw out ideas and you get told, oh, these ideas are horrible. And so you have to kind of bounce these ideas off and learn to read facial expressions. It's like, you know, kids growing up, you learn to, you know, kids were isolated for whatever reason. It's like they missed out on a lot of those social cues. And you look at, like, Mark Waid's a really good example because he's so far off the deep end, like almost to the point of feeling bad for him. He did this interview on this that other little channel on YouTube. This guy, it's funny, this guy, I think it's called Word Balloon. The guy gets everybody in the mainstream comics to do these interviews, and he does the interview, and it's like, oh, so 3 people are in the chat. I remember Ron Mars was doing an interview, and someone, I think Nerdette was there, and she goes, oh, you're going to buy Ron Mars' comic? I go, no, he blocked me on Twitter. And like, they didn't delete that comment, they just let it sit there because there wasn't enough comments to make it go up and disappear off the top of the screen, so it just sit there. It's like, What you asked me a question, I answered honestly. He blocked me on Twitter. I was like, why would I support someone who blocks me? It's like, I'm just there to see what he has to say. Anyway, this word balloon guy, the guy gets access to everybody, including Mark Waid, and nobody watches that channel. It's like, you've been on the air for years. Don't get me wrong, I've been on the air for 2 years too. It's like a tiny little channel. But I don't interview anybody. This guy's got access to everybody. He's got like 5,000 subs or something. Like, that doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, because there's no excitement for the mainstream. You know what's exciting? Comicsgate. Mr. Diversity in Comics himself was the first big push, and then Eric July came along. Honorable mention to Ethan for injecting a lot of oxygen into this supercharger. But Eric July did something different because he's opening it up to a different audience. And it's like, maybe he doesn't use the name Comicsgate, but Eric July's, whatever this comic is called, Rippaverse, is Comicsgate. It's just, he boldly came out and said, yeah, it's anti-SJW comics or something like that. It's like, you know, he's raising his flag. He says, I'm not a left-winger. It's like, this SJW stuff is just annoying. It's bad for storytelling, which is why so many people got so triggered by July, and they didn't really know how to categorize him. Say, just a person selling comics. You could just always leave him alone. There's that option. Oh no, we can't do that. We got to make sure he's back on this platform of plantation of ideas that are only allowable ideas. Like, what if we had an open marketplace of ideas where everything was out there and discussed? And the left wing doesn't have that, because you go, oh well, no, because we can't actually rebut your ideas, so we're going to have to deplatform and censor. Seems like you guys are the authoritarians the whole time, and like, you're very, very bad people. Yeah, obviously they are. Anyway, mainstream comics was so bad that Comicsgate came along, and then Eric July just recently comes out. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, to open up the audience, because he's like, the biggest Comicsgate channel's got 150,000 subs, but Eric July's got like 3 or 4 times that. I mean, he's going to have 1 million in a year or two. It's a much bigger audience, and it's going to help. I suspect it's going to help a lot of people who are in CG also, bringing eyeballs to this concept of independent comics, especially if he gets a website set up. You don't need Indiegogo or Kickstarter. If he has a payment processor on a website, it doesn't take much to set that up. We're talking, it's not an insurmountable technological burden to get. You to have one or 2 people would set that up for you. It's like, it wouldn't cost that much, and it would probably make him some money. If it's like, okay, I'm going to take 1% fees. It's like, yeah, that's fair. Like, take whatever Indiegogo is taking. It's like 5% or something. It's like, to have this marketplace where you're not censored. It's like, yeah, that's a great idea. You guys are never going to compete with Marvel and DC. Yeah, I don't think there was ever. No, you mean 100-year history or 80-year history of making comics? Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. These guys are selling premium comics for the average sale price is probably $50. So no, they're not going to compete with a $5 comic. They're selling something different. But it is comics. It is a graphics. It's pushing back, creating your own culture. John Delarose talks about that. Ethan talks about that. Fighting the culture war. They say a lot of what I'm saying, but they say it much more carefully. Yeah, fighting the culture war, it's putting this ideas out into the universe and fighting back against SJWs. That's why these left-wingers get so terrified. That's why diversity and Richard Meyer, your boy Zach, made them insane by criticizing comics, because he said, like, he filters a lot of what he says. I know he knows what's going on. Everyone knows what's going on. But he said that they feel that he's attacking them. That's why they got so triggered. It's partially that, but it's also he's attacking the comic books, which are pushing these, I guess, Bolshevik, globalist, Marxist, whatever you want to call it, these ideas, and saying, like, lampooning and parody is like a cross to a vampire to these people, because it points out how ridiculous. Like, laughing at them is the best medicine. Just laughing at how ridiculous. Like, showcasing SJWs. Why do you think YouTube got rid of all those anti-SJW channels? Almost all of them. They're either all demonetized, which is, there's no point on YouTube if you're not, these people aren't making money, or they all got kicked off. Because in some small way, that countered the narrative. All this stuff Comicsgate is doing is countering the narrative in some little way. It's lampooning the mainstream. It's go, oh, your ideas are bad. These insane comics you guys write, they're so bad that people said, you know what, F it, I'm going to make my own comic. And some people did it, enough to make it a full-time gig, and other people are doing part-time stuff, and people are having a lot of fun. There's a lot of excitement in CG. A lot, in part, thanks to Eric July, to really put fresh oxygen into the engine. He's taking it to new levels and spreading it out to a new audience. if EVS has got 150,000 subs and Erik's got like, I don't know, 500,000, it's like, well, those are new people that hopefully will start looking at these other projects that are involved in CG. So I suspect that CG itself is going to kind of get a resurgence. Anyway, he's a nut job. Everyone in comics, mainstream comics, is a nut job. Partially because of their own psychology and maybe chemical dependency for a lot of them, but also because participation tribe psychology, people have never been told no. Like, you look at Mark Waid and you're like, you know, the guy didn't have friends. He was never told no. If like an interview with his mom would have probably revealed a lot about his family life. Like, the guy probably legitimately has some you know, childhood trauma and mental illness and stuff. It's like, it's kind of hard to hate these people, because you read his comic he did with who's that guy, the Kwanzaa guy. It's set in Arizona. It's about the Second Amendment, and it's set in Arizona. Arizona is like basically northern Mexico now, right? And it, like, everyone bad is blonde haired or red haired. Everyone bad is of European origin. And you look at Mark Waid, and you're like, have you been to Arizona? Have you been to the American Southwest? This is insane. This is not what Arizona looks like. Oh yeah, heaven forbid. And he tried to make this bizarro straw man. I don't even remember the name of the bizarro straw man Second Amendment comic. Like, no wonder this went down to 900 issues. It was so bad. He even fired poor Kwanzaa, Mark Waid. How could you do that? Does that mean you're Islamophobic? Anyway, these people are all nuts. There's no way to take them seriously, so you should make fun of them as often as possible. This is a part of the culture war. Like YouTube, these Comicsgate channels, the Phantom Menace channels, they're more important than I thought. Part of their importance is how the left responds to them. Their desperate urge to deplatform them. And you know, the best thing for Comicsgate Phantom Menace would be if there was a mass deplatforming, because overnight Odyssey live streaming would be, like, if you watch, like, I don't know, 50 channels, and those channels all get kicked off, well, you just go to Odyssey. It's like, if it all happened all at once, you just go to Odyssey, and that would be the end of YouTube for a lot of people. Anyway, check me out, subscribe. Sorry, I've just started to put videos up there. Thanks for those. Thanks for the people who have joined. It's $2 a month, so it's kind of a nice video hosting platform. And then Odyssey, Bit Chute, Gab, TV again, and Telegram. And I'll see you guys all next episode.